great grandfather, he worked at the paint place that he was down for the first time.
You did go there, so it's
Yeah.
You see, I've emailed Mark funding. I guess they want to know the county contribution. They thought that contribution was perpetual in future.
I can climb up the mountain, I can climb up the mountain, and then I can climb down.
They said Chris there yesterday, discussion, I guess, House and House.
Like we did with dairy cows, but it's,
I think so too. And he really tried. He did a great job.
tightly gripped to do that. I certainly would.
Stranded assets like none other.
Well, they couldn't find the it was so uncertain.
That's the big problem with that.
It is.
Forget it, there's no training.
Exactly, there isn't. Is everybody ready? Get started. I'll call us back to order from recess. And the next item on the agenda is item number 5. Becky is here to present Alex's agenda item from Office of Planning and Zoning.
I apologize. It's not Alex. She had a conflict in the schedule this morning, so she's at
apologize. That's
a
all
meeting.
right.
So, Mr. Gay applied for a zoning variance through our office, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to move forward with it because the developer rescinded his support of the variance. And it was after we'd already deposited the money, so we would recommend that a portion of his fees be refunded after we deduct the amount of the legal advertisement.
And it looks like that's $100. Is
It's
that what you're
$100, and we figure his proportionate share of the legal advertisement, because there were 2 others on that specific section, would probably be about anywhere from $15 to $30 we would deduct from the $100 amount once we know exactly, once we receive the invoice.
Okay, all right.
I'll move to recommend a full refund of $100 zoning variance fee to Mr. Gay, less the proportionate share of the legal ad cost.
Second? Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
So much. Have a great day.
Okay, and we're down to item number 6 now, and this is when I'd like to discuss holding a special meeting to consider these items that are on the agenda. Last Thursday, as everyone knows, we didn't get out until after midnight. We didn't get to all of the agenda items because it was so late. Everybody was tired. So this is going to take some time, and it's going to take some time, I think, to define the process. And I think that I would like to see us dedicate a special meeting to just discussing the Development Authority issues that we have to discuss. I think it would, like I said, it's going to take some time. And we also have to conduct the rest of the interviews, too. So I don't want to do that during a regular meeting because often it takes a lot more time than we anticipate, and it takes, and we're not able to get through all of the agenda. So, does anyone have an objection to holding a special meeting?
I don't object. I mean, just when you want to hold it. Budget's coming up and everything.
Well, I was looking at my calendar, and everybody needs to look at their calendars. So I know next week we have another meeting on the Thursday, a regular county commission meeting. So I don't know if anybody, if any of the other commissioners are available any other days that week.
Here's a question. Since we have this meeting and the other meeting next meeting, is there any possible way we could just do normal business quickly and devote the entire rest of the other meting to the JCDA? Because usually there's very thin agendas when we have the overlap. That may be a better option.
I don't have a problem with that. I just would like to, we have to devote
Hours.
hours
I mean,
to this. So I don't know.
We already have agenda requests coming in for the 7th. We already have a fair amount from Roger. I think he's doing his impact fee update, which is usually fairly lengthy. Yeah.
So is anybody available February 6th, February 8th? Is anybody not available those 2 days?
I'm not the
Pre
8th.
meeting on the 6th.
I'm not sure.
We just got
We got
canceled
a
or
bunch
something.
of, I got a bunch of emails from Matt Molinex just now. So I'm not sure.
12th, rescheduled for the 12th, it says.
Yeah, rescheduled for the 12th, so.
I think we do need to talk about this, the sooner the better. I feel like the Development Authority is, we have 3 staff people there. We have no board overlooking what's happening. And so I think time is of the essence for that primarily, but also for all that have interviewed and those who yet want to interview. I think we need to come up with a date certain to do that. I think that's the primary thing we need to do as soon as possible, and then we can get around to how we're going to do our selections. And if you want to entertain further discussion about removing the other board members, the current board members, I'm opposed to that. But I think timing is critical right now, and for the 2 reasons I stated. So if we need to have a special meeting, it needs to be next week.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at, either Wednesday or Friday, to see
Well,
who's
if the
available.
March
What about
meeting's not going,
Tuesday?
Wednesday's
Tuesday, you already
Tuesday,
have your budget
Yeah.
101 in the
Right.
evening.
In the evening.
So yeah, you could do it before.
I'm not available on Tuesday morning. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be at the budget and the whatever, but I'm flying back at like 11 a.m., so I won't be able to do that.
So
Wednesday?
Wednesday?
It's I have doctor's appointment Friday. I can't get
Wednesday?
up.
Wednesday.
Is there, the agenda for the 7th, how much time do we honestly think that's going to take? Because we could have an afternoon session at 1:30 and the vote, it's not going to take more than a few hours, I would think. If it takes like 10 hours, it's going to be insane. I mean, 1:30 to even like 5:30, 4 hours, do we think it's going to take longer than 4 hours
Well, we have board of review at 1:30.
on the
On
7th?
Thursday,
Yeah,
on
you
the
have to
7th.
meet,
Never know
you have to meet
who
every
we
2
have.
days
We may
according
have
to
no
the
one.
statute
Yeah.
for Board of Review.
I forgot that. Those things are just in there.
Yeah.
I know,
Just
it's
like-
every other, it's Tuesday and Thursday, well, not
Right
just
now, I'm
Tuesday,
open on
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Wednesday works for me. I'll make
Wednesday.
it work.
What time was it in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah,
9:30?
that should be fine.
30?
Yeah, Wednesday at 9:30.
Thank you all. Okay.
And I had a list, I can't find it at the moment, of our current board members on the JCDA and their terms, and it's probably in this notebook, and I've misfiled it, but if we could have that,
I was
too.
actually going to ask you a couple of questions. One, did you want to have public comment? Typically, we don't provide public comment at special meetings. Did you want to provide public comment at this meeting?
I think it's a good idea to provide public comment.
Okay.
Maybe set aside, I don't know, what's everybody's, what's your pleasure? How much time should we set aside for it?
Well, I think if you're going to be making appointments or interviewing people, then you know, I think it's important for people to make comments on potential board appointees.
I agree.
So I don't think we can limit it,
Well,
but I don't
but
want to
we
be there
have
all
to-
day.
Yeah, we have to get through the,
Next Wednesday, you're not talking about actually interviewing people during that day.
No, that's true, that's true.
That's to basically decide on what the process is going to be in addition to the reconstituting the Development Authority. So,
I mean, I'm always for public comment. I mean,
okay. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine with me.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then,
Just not set, so we won't set, I mean, we kind
Okay.
of have to, we won't set a physical, an actual
A time amount, yeah, we'll just say,
Just
we'll do it.
List it on the agenda, and we'll get
Yes.
through the agenda, so people won't be expecting to have a certain time period that they have to adhere to.
Okay. And then the other thing is just for you. So Jessica prepared that really handy.
Yes.
You
she
want
did.
that?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Mine
the
is in
members
here
we have, the people who've applied. Did you want all of the applications again, or?
No, I think, well, we've already heard, I don't want to do a second round of, I mean, the second round should be for people who've not been interviewed
Okay.
the first time.
Okay.
Or not interviewed the first time, but want to be interviewed. If
So,
they were
but-
on the list,
But for the meeting on Wednesday, you don't want any of
No.
that stuff in your, okay.
no, we don't need that.
Okay.
I don't believe we need that.
Okay, so okay,
Well,
so-
it would be maybe helpful, though, for the public to have a list of who has been interviewed and who is yet to be interviewed.
Okay.
I mean, I think the staff will need that anyway if we decide on a date to interview, to send it out to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so I have this straight. The Wednesday meeting, the special session is specifically public comment to start, and then agenda items 6 and 7 that are on today's agenda.
Yes.
And then anybody that, because there was an issue at the end of that midnight meeting, people either left because they had to go to work or whatever.
Right.
We'll determine when we will interview those folks
Yes.
at that next special meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the process, the
Yeah.
selection process also should be on
Yeah,
there.
if we're going to do a second round, if there'll be a questionnaire or not, or whatever. Yeah.
We've never had this volume of applicants before.
Right.
And most of the time, we don't even have enough to fill the seats that we're looking for. So this is the first time that we've had, sometimes we have more applicants than we have seats, but it's only like 1 or 2. So this is the largest volume of applicants we've ever had for a board.
All right. So is everybody-
Perhaps another, we don't need it at this next meeting, but another good tool would be the list that Mr. Dio had up on the board about the different types of people.
Required
Well,
appointments.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think some of the people we've interviewed could wear a couple of those hats, so we need to be open to that too. And that might be good follow-up questions too,
Right.
yeah.
And you'll need, so we won't need follow-up questions for round 2 until we decide what the process is going to be, so. Okay, is everybody straight? Everybody understand what's going on? Okay, so we'll plan on meeting on the 6th, Wednesday at 9:30 here. Okay. So moving on to, it's 11:15. We are ahead of schedule.
Oh, yeah, hey, just one quick thing. What's going on in municipalities and their appointments? Because isn't that determination of what's going on with the boards?
Yeah.
Like, have they provided anything yet? Because that's another issue that holds the board up too, so.
And have you sent out letters recently? I mean, in the midst of all this other? Then I know we,
Yeah, I mean, I've personally spoken with the representative from Shepherdstown on 2 occasions. I think Jessica's spoken with her on 3 occasions. And Sandy's, I mean, I think they have personally spoken with us like 5 times, somebody in the staff. So they're aware of the requirement.
well, didn't Nathan say he had something that would, a letter that he could write that would say you need to fulfill this because of
Yes.
statutory,
Yes.
legalese?
Yeah, he unfortunately is ill.
I know.
So,
Okay, so maybe that needs to be put on the agenda also for the special
Yeah.
meeting. The problem is, we can suffice our duties in appointing our people, but if the municipalities hold it up, the JCDA essentially, I think, can still not operate without those folks, just as,
No.
so.
Can't without a labor person.
So we have to consider.
the
how we're
language
gonna
in that
handle as
statute is
well.
a shall language.
Oh, okay. So it has to come
So
from
if the labor
municipality.
representative is required, so are the municipal representatives required to operate.
There's 3 municipalities that have, or is it just?
Bolivar,
Shepherdstown.
Shepherdstown, and Charlestown has given you 3 names.
Okay, yeah, so it's just essentially 2.
Just 2, yeah.
You know, that's something else we need to discuss too. I think did commissioners receive the qualifications that Charlestown is going to be considering people on the board for their appointee, they have a list of questions and a list of requirements for their board appointee to consider when they are, whoever is appointed to the board.
It's like guidelines for
It's
their.
guidelines.
I
it's
think
like-
Mike
for them.
emailed it to me.
I think I read about
I
it in the
think-
I saw
paper, but I
those.
don't know if I've actually read the whole, know
Okay.
about
I
it.
thought I forwarded that, but maybe I didn't.
Maybe I didn't.
But anyway, that's
Want me to
something,
include that as well? in
yeah,
your packet?
I'll send that to you.
I think I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If
And
I
I
don't,
guess I
I'll
think
let
we
you know.
need also, I think we're gonna have to have some legal advice on,
Right.
on that. Yeah.
So if you live in Jefferson, ask your town council to give us some names.
Or volunteer yourself.
I'm in the county, I volunteer.
I know.
Okay, is there anything else with regard to the
That's correct.
special
That is
meeting?
correct.
Everybody clear about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's any other, if you can think of anything else that you need to, that we haven't covered today, it'll just be on that agenda, just be sure and send it to Stephanie or Jess and Sandy. Okay, so we are at 11:15. And so we are.
Your attorney is here.
Yes, he is. I just saw him walk in. So we can go ahead and, Mr. Kennedy can come on down, take up item number 8. I know Nathan isn't here, and so there's on there that we won't be discussing. And so,
Do you plan on going to executive session for this?
Uh-huh.
And then potentially adjourning afterwards? Did you want to do
We
the
need to
last
do-
2 public comments
yeah, why
before
don't-
doing this?
that's a good idea. That, because since we are running ahead.
And
Yeah.
I actually just did want to mention one thing, and I didn't mention this during the legislative update, but I talked a little bit about the inventory tax. Well, apparently in the education bill that the governor, and the reason I didn't mention it is because the governor said he's going to veto it, but then I found out that during the break that there are enough votes to override his veto because it doesn't have to be a supermajority. Anyway, in that bill, it allows the Board of Education to unilaterally raise their levy rate without going to the voters, their excess levy rate. So if they do that, that's how they're thinking they'll make up the inventory tax for the Board of Education, not for us, but for the Board of Education. So it's hidden somewhere in that 138-page bill that they will also allow the Board of Education, without going to the voters, so they'll change the law, to allow them to go ahead and raise their levy rate to make up for the money that they'll lose from the inventory tax. So anyway, it is relevant. I didn't mention it, but now it is. So
Wouldn't that require a constitutional amendment in some way, since it's a voter thing that we have to approve the levy rate?
So
Or maybe
the
I don't
levy,
know the law
the
enough
excess
to-
levies are in, it may require a constitutional amendment. The excess levies are in the code section. So we require a supermajority to run an excess levy, but the Board of Education only requires a majority to do that. I'll look some more into it. Like I said, I did mention it before because it's a Board of Education issue, really.
Yeah.
But now it impacts us.
Yeah, I mean, there's no surprise. I mean, you knew they were going to make it up on the backs of the residents
Right.
somehow.
Right.
So, I mean, it just, obviously,
are.
I mean, how else were you going to do
There,
it?
I mean, I got into a very heated discussion with, was it Mike Carl?
Yes.
About this, and, you know, his response to me was, "Well, just raise the levy rate." And I said, "You're asking me to raise the levy rate so I can continue to provide my current level of service to the residents. They're not getting anything extra, they're just paying more for the same thing they're already getting." And he and I had a very heated exchange about that, so.
You see the
Yeah.
top-down approach from the state, and then it goes to the local
Yeah.
bodies to raise the rate. So it's very seldom that you
Right.
see a local body not raise it because the state said they could raise it. So, I
Right.
mean, it's occurred here a few times with inventory taxes and stuff, but
Right.
they're going to just raise it, so.
Yeah. All right. Sorry,
All
I
right,
derailed
so,
myself.
so we will, if everybody's ready, we'll move on with the remaining 2 individuals who signed up for public comment. The next person on the list is David Tabb.
Yeah.
Okay, David Tabb, you're not here? All right, you missed your chance. And Nicole Bastian?
Good almost afternoon. Greetings to all of you. nice to be back here and then give you some more information of our constant research in these issues. And for forward, I'm glad that we are not the only ones who kind of like a little bit of chaos, because it seems it kind of invades this room as well. So I better read it, otherwise I won't get done, but I do have a copy for the record. Thank you for hearing your fellow citizens of our beloved county with our concerns regarding Rockwool and its threat to our children's and grandchildren's well-being. This morning, I need to alert you to another poison to add to the mix of contaminants released into water and air due to disturbance of the ground in our karst topography, brought about by inviting heavy industry into our community. I had a talk with a physicist whose work entails advising health officials about all manners radiological and radioactive that are being used in the health system. He explained to me the dangers of radon gas on lung health. Checking the EPA and other web pages, his analysis was confirmed. One study dates back to a publication by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health in 1998. The second most common cause for lung cancer in the United States is due to exposure to radon gas to be found in homes and other buildings. I contacted our school superintendent and our health department to find out whether schools in Jefferson County are being tested regularly for radon. No word yet from the superintendent. Jennifer Pierce, via Dr. Didden, Jefferson County Health Department, wrote back, radon testing is a good idea and would make an interesting project for the schools, which I had proposed. I assume Mrs. Pierce was implying it is not being done. To my surprise, she let me know that Jefferson County Health Department, unlike Berkeley County, has no free radon testing kits available to the public. Berkeley County is a radon partner of the state of West Virginia. Jefferson County is not. I urge you to look into that shortcoming of our county and rectify this problem. We need to be able to regularly test our public buildings at a time when increased release of this invisible, odorless gas is very likely. As it is written in many publications, disturbance of the ground, e.g. by digging ditches, for the water line, the gas pipeline, the construction,
Thank you.
increases the evaporation of the radon.
All right, that concludes the list of people that have signed up to speak. So we will move on to item number 8. And Nathan is not here today, so
We've got Greg.
Mr. Kennedy?
Well, can you tell us which things we will be talking about,
So I think
possibly in executive session?
we're going to talk about 18C 171, 18C 201, and Greg, did you want to talk any about the Development Authority at all? Any of the appointments or anything? Okay. So maybe some possible legal advice concerning the Development Authority appointments.
All right. So is there anything that we can discuss without going into just executive session?
I actually have, if I can pull it up here, I do have an update. Nathan has reviewed one of the agreements that's under his update. If I. He has reviewed the MOU between Jefferson Medical and the Commission relating to the 340B program, so it'll be ready to be presented. That's the last item on his update. So that'll be ready to be presented at the February 7th meeting. And then Everything else, he said he would provide an update on Civil Action 17C 282. He has no update on the cable franchise agreement, no update on 18P 132, and all of the MOUs are ongoing, and he will discuss them with you at the next meeting, with the exception of number 11, which will be approved at the next meeting, provided that you vote to approve it. And that's
One
it.
quick thing,
Yep.
these like action numbers may be not familiar to the public.
I'm
Can we
sorry.
specifically say what 18C 171 actually is? What is that concerning?
So
potentially?
171 is the FOIA lawsuit, and 201 is the pilot lawsuit.
What was 171?
Okay.
The FOIA, the Jefferson County Vision versus Jefferson County Commission.
Okay, so we have to go into executive session to discuss the other things. All right. So I will move that we go into executive session to discuss the FOIA lawsuit 18C 171, the pilot lawsuit 18C 201, and the Development Authority.
Receive legal advice. To receive legal advice for
Oh,
the
yes, to
developer.
receive legal advice on those issues. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We are in executive session.
So you all are finished after this?
Yes. we
Yeah,
are.
we have Board of Review and Equalization at 1:30, so we're not really finished.